Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a long look at the much anticipated Mount Ormond map rework. Now this type of video is going to show you where jungle gym-esque tiles spawn, where totems can usually be found, where shack is, and more. This is a new video series I'm doing, so please let me know down below how I can fix up this series for future entries, of course. And before we dive in, be sure you click that subscribe button for me, as I am incredibly confident that I'll make more content that you'll just love in the future. So let's go ahead and jump on into Mount Ormond and stay frosty. Mount Ormond is generally just a giant square map with two little nooks carved into opposing corners of it. Killer Shack is always in one of those nooks, located in what I consider to be the bottom left-hand side of the map, always. Now, Killer Shack can spawn with a basement, with a generator, and even potentially with a totem located in this little corner. This corner of the map can also spawn an exit gate, so keep an eye out for that early, especially if you spawn here. Now, leaving the shack and traveling along what I call the leftmost side of the map, you'll see one of three things. What I call a rock loop, a hill, or just a bunch of useless rocks. Now, a rock loop is usually just a small structure of rocks with a pallet in between. These rock loops are incredibly unsafe pallets, and thus you have to play around them incredibly carefully, or burn them all as quickly as possible. If a rock loop spawns here, and there is no generator in the aforementioned shack, a generator can also spawn here. Now, in the event of a hill spawning here, the hill will have a guaranteed totem. After loading the map many times, I have always found a totem affixed to the top of the hills on Mount Ormond, and I've never seen more than one hill spawn on this map. In rare circumstances, nothing could spawn in this area right outside the shack on the left-hand side of the map, but a bunch of rocks that have no pallet. While this is rare, it could happen, so do keep this in mind. Now, because this section of the map can spawn either a hill, a rock loop, or just nothing, we'll call this a question block a la Mario. Moving further forward along the left-hand side of the map, on that left-hand wall, we have a guaranteed jungle gym spawn. Now, what this jungle gym is will vary. I have seen this tile spawn as an LT wall, a long wall jungle gym, a regular jungle gym, etc. What it can be doesn't seem to be weighted. It is entirely random. But the thing to note here is that this is a safe area if being chased. All right. Moving further forward from here, up the left-hand side of the map, up the left wall, and near the left corner, we have another question block, as we mentioned before. This, again, can have a hill with a totem, a rock loop, or a bunch of rocky nothing, all right? Sometimes a gen can spawn here in this area if rocks are here. Now, in the leftmost corner of the map, we have a guaranteed jungle gym tile. I've seen interesting tiles spawn here, like multi-locker walls that you see typically in Mother's Dwelling. I've also seen LT walls spawn here, as well as other jungle gyms. Again, this seems entirely random, but regardless, you can bet this is a safe area if you are getting chased, and you can link this to the prior guaranteed tiles on this side of the map. Immediately to the right of this area, but before you get to the Bulldozer, you'll have either a rock loop with a pallet, or you'll have nothing. I've never seen a hill spawn between the Bulldozer and the left-hand guaranteed jungle gym tile. Now, I'm not going to say it's impossible. After multiple loads, though, I've never seen it. Now, next up to the right of the rock loop or the nothing, you'll have the Bulldozer, which always has a pallet. This Bulldozer is guaranteed to always spawn in this exact position and will even always have a chest at the opposing end of the pallet. There is no walkway or vault here like what you would see in Azarov, so be sure that you're aware of that. This Bulldozer only has a pallet. Moving across the top of the map to the right of the Bulldozer, you have another question block. Again, this means that a hill, a rock loop, or nothing will be here. You will never see a jungle gym right here to the right of the Bulldozer. Now, moving to the right of this question block, there's almost always a rock structure here. In rare cases, there could be nothing, but often, and far more often than not, there is a small rock structure with a pallet, and this pallet usually lines up perfectly with the rock wall that is to the left of the ski lodge. And of course, we'll discuss this rock wall a little bit later, okay? Moving into the upper right nook of the map, this is a guaranteed tile spawn. Again, jungle gym, Ormond gyms, etc. Moving directly down from that, we have what I call the Field of Dreams, because this is where they go to die. This area of the map can spawn a rock structure, here, specifically this upper portion of the Field of Dreams. But more often than not, there is absolutely nothing that spawns from this top rightmost guaranteed tile until nearly the bottom guaranteed tile that we're going to place here. And this is all the way left to the rock wall. This whole area is generally empty, so be sure not to get caught here. Now, we covered the nook in the upper right-hand corner of the map. Now, going down past through the Field of Dreams, before you reach the bottom right-hand corner, you have another guaranteed tile spawn. This could be LT walls. Again, this could be the long wall jungle gyms, etc. That is entirely random, but it is guaranteed that it is a tile. All right. Now, in the right-hand corner of the map, there is a question block spawning either a hill totem combination, a rock loop, or just rocks. Directly left of this area is what I call the Ormond Shack. This thing's basically useless, but it does exist, as it has at least one breakable wall, always, and one vault, one window vault on the inside. I do not recommend using this for much at high ranks. It's usually not going to get you very far. And of course, if you're at low ranks, then yeah, you might be able to play a killer here. Who knows? All right. Now, the whole bottom strip here to the left of the Ormond Shack is just a series of question mark blocks. Any variant of weird can spawn here. Usually you'll see about 2 rock structures, but I've seen instances of literally nothing spawning here, or a hill spawning skewed either near the shack or near the Ormond Shack, and then, 2 rock loops to the left or right of that. So there's kind of any variable down here, but the big takeaway is that there is never a really strong tile at the bottom of this of the lodge. There's never really a great strong presence here. It's either nothing or unsafe pallets and a series of unsafe pallets. Okay, now we're going to wrap around a little bit to the inner left side of the map, just outside the left hand side of the lodge. This area has multiple little picnic benches lying around, so you might in certain instances see with this picnic area maybe 2 very unsafe pallets, but generally you're going to find maybe 1 unsafe pallet on this little picnic area. All right. Otherwise, you're going to see large mountains of snow that are maybe going to be good to hide around or sneak around or stealth around, but that's about it. This area is also kind of a little miniature Field of Dreams, if you will. Not a great spot to be caught with the killer. Of course, you want to get out of here as much as possible. Don't be caught healing here. Don't be doing anything here. All right, it's not a good spot to be. Now, if there are snowmen in this area, specifically closer towards the Bulldozer, you can potentially find a totem here, so do keep that in the back of your head. That's the only wild, oddball totem spawn I've really seen in this map, is just right there where there's nothing, so do keep that in the back of your head, of course. Now, let's move to the inside of the lodge. The center area of the lodge can have pallets that spawn in one of 3 areas, but you'll never see more than 1. All right, you might have a pallet spawn near the couch, you might have a pallet spawn near the suitcase, and you might have a pallet spawn near the sofa. Now, all these pallets are basically unsafe pallets, but I do find that the sofa pallet to the right-hand side of the generator can be used to link to the window, which is behind the bar on the bottom of the lodge. Now, there is a breakable door to the immediate right-hand side of the generator. I've never seen this door not spawn here. This always is here anytime I've seen it before, so do keep that in mind. On the other side of that door is what I like to call the locker pallet. This is, of course, affixed in one of 2 different locations, but it's always right there. It's either between the 2 lockers or it's between the wall and a locker. But again, another unsafe pallet. There are no strong windows near this pallet to loop to. And of course, this leads directly outside to the Field of Dreams. Now, heading upstairs, there are 3 breakable walls. One of these 3 walls is open at the beginning of the trial and leads to the balcony. Which door is open is randomized. The balcony area can have a pallet in one of 2 spots. Of course, the short side facing the Bulldozer can have it, or the long side that heads to the Field of Dreams can have the pallet. Now, back on the second floor, at the top of the initial stairs, you'll see a room at the end. Now this room could spawn with an open window that could be vaulted and links to another room, all right? In some cases, the first room could have a sealed window and a blocked breakable door, which makes it just a nothing room. If this is the case, if it is blocked off, head back out of the room's first door. You'll see a long hallway to the right. Down this hall is a door on the left that leads to a window vault, all right? At the end of the original hallway you were just in, of course, there will always be a pallet that spawns in front of a drop down. This never changes. Now, in terms of generators, this map is fairly easy. There is always a center generator, and it is always in the same spot. That never changes. And on Ormond, you want to complete this gen first, nearly every time, or one of the first, all right? Completing this generator first prevents the killer from being able to exert a ton of pressure on other survivors, okay? Otherwise, there could be gens in multiple locations around the edges of the map, all right? You always want to check the edges of the map. You know, again, they could spawn inside of tiles like LT walls. They could spawn inside of shack. They can spawn in the bottom right-hand corner. So just keep your eyes peeled. Of course, you have the balcony on this map to be able to look from the ski lodge to see where generators are. So this shouldn't be a big deal. But generally just check your corners. Okay. Now, with regards to totems, I've not found a pattern for totem spawns. I've seen them skewed to the left-hand side of the map, skewed to the right-hand side of the map. Only 5 totems spawn on a map, so I have found some consistency with certain totems, and that's the important part here. A totem will always spawn near the long rock wall to the right of the cabin where the Field of Dreams is located. This totem never moves in all of the 30-something loads I've had into this map. It never moves, all right? If a hill spawns on this map, it is also guaranteed to have a totem. So that is 2 right there, especially if you get Ruin, Undying. Look for hills on the question blocks that I mentioned they could be located at. And if there is a hill, there is a totem, all right? Remember that if a totem gets cleansed, you will see bones laying on the ground to let you know that a totem was there, but was cleansed out, okay? What I also will say is that I've never seen totems spawn in the main building except on the balcony facing the Bulldozer. I've never seen totems spawn in the inner, the bottom floor at all, and I've never seen them spawn in the rooms on the second story. Doesn't mean it doesn't happen. It just means that I could not get it to happen. The only time I've had a totem spawn on the building was in the top floor, the right-hand side facing the Bulldozer, okay? The rest of the totems on the map are always near structures, near pallets, in rock loops, and again, like I said, near the snowman to the left-hand side of the lodge. But again, you'll find a lot of them oftentimes near the rock loops, which is pretty easy. Small game detects these really well, detective's hunch. None of them are particularly crazy, okay? And of course, be sure that you check Killer Shack for totems as well. So now, what do you think of this series? Again, the intent of this series is to tell you guys, you know, what the map layout is, what it looks like, the guaranteed spawns, the places to avoid, the dead areas, etc. Not necessarily to teach you how to loop the map. That could be a separate video. Would you like that? Let me know down below. Of course, get some water. I'm gonna need you to unclench that jaw, and I'll be praying to the entity that I see you guys in the next video.